Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining me here. And whether this is the first time that you've tuned in to this channel and this series of videos, or whether you've been a long-time viewer, welcome. Consider just that you're meant to be here today. You found this material, or rather, it found you, and it makes no difference as always, whether you're a long-time course student, a beginning course student, somewhere in between, or whether indeed you're a student of A Course in Miracles at all. You do not have to be to derive great benefit from what's going to appear to come out of this pixelated image's mouth over the next 20 or so minutes. I say that, by the way, for a very important reason. Understand that what you're looking at is nothing. It's nothing special at all. It's a collection of electronic dots. It's what we're watching. How it all assembles through this thing called a webcam, I have no idea. It's a form that we can recognize and that we're familiar with. A middle-aged man from Arizona. Can't get much more ordinary than that. The purpose behind my saying this will become clear with time. If it doesn't become clear during this conversation today, it will. You're not a body, in other words, which I know that you know, which of course does not mean that you have to jump for joy upon hearing that. In fact, the exact opposite may occur. It may be happening for you right now where you think, what are you actually talking about, dude? What do you mean I'm not a body? Oh, you know. There's more to it than simply meeting the needs of this physical organism, eating, breathing, drinking, sleeping. There's more to our experience than just that. That's why you're on the spiritual path, because you've known this and you've recognized it. We all know this. You have gone further than simply hearing the call of our inner teacher to awaken, because it goes out to everyone at all times. You've answered it. Mm, thank you. You have answered the call, and you've done it more than once because it's led you here. This course points to the truth, and if you wish to take a listen to these ideas and put them into practice in your daily life, it will save you time immeasurable. Ready? Excellent. We have a choice every moment of every day as to how we see everything. We have a choice as to whether we look on all of this stuff that we call the world, all of what appear to be 8 billion plus human bodies, all phenomena, all the stuff that appears to surround us. We have a choice as to whether we look at that with the Holy Spirit, our inner teacher, or whether we look at it the way we've been looking at it with the ego, with this sense of separation, with this false sense of individuality. Why false? There's no separation of any kind. What appears to be multiplicity is illusion. Now, A Course in Miracles is not the only spiritual tradition to posit that. This may sound very familiar to you. Perhaps it does, perhaps it doesn't. We're asked only to take these ideas and put them into practice in our daily lives. It does not matter whether you understand them intellectually or not, though I hope that by these videos and reading commentary and your own actual practical experience, you'll begin to understand this thought system. But the intellectual thinking mind only goes so far. It will only take you so far. You must do this. You must put these ideas into practice. If you don't, then you won't learn this course. Intellect is not enough. This course is learned by doing it. Now, why? Well, it's in the taking these ideas and putting them into practice that we really, truly learn. That is so, so important because our experience, when we genuinely, honestly, authentically put these ideas into practice in our daily life, when we do this, our experience does something extremely powerful. It shows us they're true. It demonstrates to us. It proves to us. Want proof? Great. Prove it to yourself by listening to the Holy Spirit here and putting these ideas into practice. That's an invite to each and every one of us. So we have a choice as to how we see things. We can look at it with the Holy Spirit, or we can look at it the way we've been looking at it, with the ego, which sees everyone as separate and in competition with one another. And voila, we have the world as we appear to experience it. One giant hot mess. That's putting it very nicely, isn't it? And we have peaceful moments. And in fact, you may live in a very peaceful area of the world. You may live a life that's pretty, well, what we would consider cushy and well off. Maybe you have a lot of money. Maybe there's no warfare where you are, and the situation is stable, and you have nice things, and you're not lacking for anything here in the world. Maybe. And maybe your situation is the complete opposite. I don't know. This course is a course in mind training. It's not about affecting change in the world that appears to be out there. So it's not a course in changing the world. Mm. There is no world. That's the central teaching of A Course in Miracles. In other words, you're perfectly at home in God where you've always been. This compound thing that's mostly water anyway is not you. And you do know that. It's why you're on the spiritual path. Again, because you have recognized that there's more to it than simply eating, breathing, sleeping, headed off to work and paying our bills. I mean, don't stop doing that, right? But there's more to it than all of that. This isn't how we see things. We have a choice to see it with the Holy Spirit or with the ego. The Holy Spirit, the Christ in you, sees your brother's holiness. It sees your brother, in other words, every living thing, for what it is. It sees your brother for what he is, truly, not a body. When you look with the ego, referred to here in the Course by our specialness, our sense of individuality, then you look out and you see your brother's body. When you look with the ego, you see a body, you see 8 billion plus bodies doing battle for what we deem to be scarce resources on a wobbling, spinning ball of rock hurtling through space. Super fast. And no wonder we're dizzy. You have a choice as to how you see this. And no one can take that choice from you. What you wish to see, you will see. It will be there for you to see. This is very powerful. What you wish to see, you will see. Do you wish to see your brother as he really is? Or do you wish to see him as he appears to be? A physical body. Because if you do, then you'll see all of the defects, all of the faults, all of the stumbles and mislaid plans, all of the hatred, the bitterness, the deterioration, the frailty, the sadness, the rage, and the pain. All of that. Should you wish to see that, you will continue to see it. Now, should you wish to see your brother as he really is, you will see him as he really is, the Son of God. This is limitless. It is radiant, whole, total, complete love itself, all encompassing, not a physical body, which will still appear to your eyes, but we're looking with our mind. We see with the mind. Think of when you're dreaming at night. All of the images that you see in a dream appear to be very real, don't they? They appear to be real people or real beings, and all of the situations that appear to happen, the things that you say and do, the things that happen in a dream appear to be real. And then we awaken and they're gone. It's as though they were never there. Exactly. You're perfectly at home in God where you've always been. Love extends itself, i.e., God extends himself. That's the Son of God, the extension of God, created by God himself. God's the creator. We are the created, the Son of God. Like extends like. Love does not extend hatred. It extends itself. Entertain these ideas. We all know this deep down. We do. And it may not have arisen to conscious language for you. Maybe it has, but that's not necessary that it has, because we all respond to this call. It's the call of our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, to awaken. What's the Holy Spirit? It's part of our mind. It's not an outside or a foreign power. So when you follow the Holy Spirit, our inner teacher, you're not giving your power away. Quite on the contrary, you're accessing it, and I invite you to do that. And then do it again and again and again, because if you really want to see truth as it is, if you really want to see your brother as he really is, it will be given you to see, and you will see it. Don't be afraid, or if you are, it's part of the path. Don't worry about that. Ask your inner teacher for guidance. You'll only get what you're able to get on a given day. So part of the practice here is allowing ourselves to be led as far as we're able to go, as far as we feel able or willing to go on a particular day. And then we get up tomorrow and we do the same thing all over again. Because here's what's going on. Your brother is a mirror for yourself. He is. Other people are a mirror for you. What you see when you look upon someone else, your brother, anyone else, is the judgment that you've laid on both of you, yourself, him, her, them. It's the judgment that you've laid on both of you. That's what you see when you look at your brother. Do you see your own limitlessness? Do you see yourself as completely boundless, love itself? Or do you see all the frailty, the cruelty, the malice, the reckless hate? Why is your brother a mirror for the judgment you've laid on all of us as one? There is no separation of any kind. As you see your brother, you see yourself. He is you, not bodies. We're not a body. Your brother is not related to you. He's not closely related to you. He you, is you. Now, there may be a part of you that screams in revolt against such an idea. Yet you're still watching. Should tell you everything you need to know right there. Something compels you about this. The ego is responsible for 100% of the resistance that we can expect on the spiritual path. So if you're thinking that this seems completely outlandish, that's absolutely not a problem. It's by design. This course aims to turn our perception right side up. It is upside down and backwards right now. This is turning it right side up. So that's what we're invited to do when we choose to look upon our entire experience with our inner teacher rather than with the ego. When we choose to see our brother as he is rather than all of the fallacies that he appears to be. When we extend love, who and what we are, rather than withhold it. Are you withholding it? We can only answer that question for ourselves. Yeah? We're invited to extend love, to forgive, instead of blame and condemn. It's not difficult to understand, yet we find it so difficult to put into practice. Why? We still cherish our precious individuality. We still cherish our precious ego identity, which we've built up over time, and we've defined, delineated, and that we defend. Defining and defending personal territory. The very fact that this conversation appears to be happening, it appears to be necessary, is because we've all been doing it too much, right? We're here having formulated the thought, in other words, listened to the thought, that there's more to it than simply going through the motions of this weird and wild game we call life. We're invited to look with the Holy Spirit and see our brother as he really is. We're invited to perceive his holiness. Can that be very difficult to do in the face of his extraordinary malfeasance, hatred, and rage? Well, maybe. We're invited to do it anyway. And we talked a moment ago about allowing yourself to be led as far as you're able to be led on a given day. So here's something very important. If you are in a place where you do not feel that you can forgive somebody, that you don't feel that you can overlook the extraordinary cruelty, the hatred, all of that, you may not agree with someone. I mean, there could be any number of reasons. And perhaps you were in a personal relationship with somebody, and we're talking about an ex or a very recent ex. I don't know. There are any number of situations that are possible here. And if you don't feel that you're able to go there, there are plenty of other opportunities for you to go there with someone or something else. It only appears to be someone or something else. But if all that you feel able to do today is forgive yourself for spilling coffee on your light colored pants this morning, then do that. Simply do that. Forgive the weather for being a little too hot for your liking, or too cold, or too windy. I don't know. There are plenty of things every day that are not wholly joyous in our experience. Those are opportunities for forgiveness, all of them. And there's no difference between forgiving a passing cloud for temporarily blotting out your sunshine or forgiving a historical dictator or a present dictator. There is no difference. The very first sentence of chapter 1 of the Course in Miracles encapsulates this. There is no order of difficulty in miracles. True forgiveness is a miracle. Each act of forgiveness is equally as powerful as any other. Why? It's not about the surface level. It's not about the form, the cloud, the coffee, your ex. It's about the content. It's about the essence, the heart of the matter, the truth. This is a course in mind training. It is not a course in rearranging the weather. Right? It's not a course in rearranging our bank accounts, as nice as that may be, to augment them. Yeah. It's not about that. It's about changing our mind. And we have the opportunity, the extraordinary power to choose every moment of every day, whether we see our experience with the Holy Spirit or whether we see it with this tiny, frail little illusion called the ego that we've given all of our allegiance to. And it has led us off the cliff again and again, and is going to do it again if we don't withdraw our allegiance from it. And we don't have to clobber it either. You don't have to bludgeon it with a sledgehammer or shoot it or anything violent. We simply set it aside, choose to see with the Holy Spirit, and the light of truth shines the darkness away. The ego, represented by darkness, is completely gone when the light of truth shines upon it. Think of walking into a dark room, flipping on a light switch. Where is the darkness now? It's gone. You don't have to make an opponent out of the ego, meaning you don't have to make an opponent out of anyone. There is no separation of any kind. You have no opponent. The world tells us otherwise. Yet this course leads us to peace of mind. Does having an opponent and believing your opponent to be solid, concrete, and real give you peace of mind? Now, this does not mean don't do what you're doing in the world. If you're called to protect somebody or yourself, do that. We show up in our daily lives. We go to work. If you're going to work today, go to work today. Eat, breathe, drink, do life. And now, why is this important? It's important because even though this is a dream, this can be used for the purposes of the Holy Spirit. It's a choice you can make, and I invite you to make that. The body can be used as it's being used right now. Pixelated image on your screen. It's a communication device. Remember, there's no accident that it is broadcasting in a language that we refer to as English, which is widely spoken on this wobbling, spinning ball of rock. And this is an international audience. Zero accident. There are no accidents at all. There is no coincidence that you're here and still watching. This tells me you've come a lot farther than you think, and you're almost there. So keep going. Keep going. We continue to show up and live our lives, our normal lives. I mean, I'm living a normal life with a job and bills to pay. I'm married, happily married. I mean, it looks normal, right? I'm a middle-aged man from Arizona, apparently. I mean, nothing unusual about any of it. It's not me that you're looking at. It's not who I am. When I look in the mirror, it's not me that I see. Not at all. However, we're all invited to continue to show up and live our lives as we've been doing. I mean, if you want to call it be normal, yeah, do normal stuff, do the things you usually do. Now, why is this important? There are people out there that only you will be able to reach. In other words, you'll reach them better than I will. You'll reach them better than anyone else will. You're meant to work with them. Now, it does not mean, of course, that you have to hold yourself out as a teacher or an instructor or anything like that. That is not what is meant by this statement. What we mean by this is they're going to hear the message of the Holy Spirit best from you. You're meant to work with them. So stick around and work with them, because the more of us that choose to see our brother as he really is, the better. So no one ever said this was dull. um, haven't we all messed around and been playing around enough? I mean, perhaps you can relate to having tried multiple different things on the spiritual path. And now here comes this weird thing called A Course in Miracles. Well, that's actually quite a common experience. Because this course is universal, it doesn't make any difference what your background is or is not. Doesn't make any difference what you're currently practicing, if anything, what you're interested in practicing, what you're studying on the internet. That makes no difference. The internet led you here. In other words, the Holy Spirit led you here. Will you listen to its message? I hope the answer is yes. Okay. So along the way, these are very deep conversations. You deserve nothing less. No more messing around, right? You won't get that out of pixelated image on your screen. Now, this is a video series about A Course in Miracles, which says what it says, and it means what it means. That's what's on offer here. So I thank you for joining me. As always, if you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do that. I'd love to have you join us. That's the prompt in the corner of your screen here. You click that and, well, yeah, join us. Several videos appear each week, and as we mentioned a few minutes ago, it is an international community. Your questions are most welcome. Please ask them if you have them, whether they're related to spirituality in general or whether they're specific to A Course in Miracles. This is a very good place for it. And if you would like to ask questions that are very, well, broad and more than just a typed out 2 or 3 sentence answer, I'm happy to do a standalone video or more than one on any topic that is coming up for you. So there's always bound to be something, which is why these videos occur with such frequency. There's always something to talk about. All right, so I thank you for joining me. And that's the subscription button again. Please hit that if you haven't joined us yet. And I will see you all very soon.